I was studying in Oxford. I thought I'd seen wealth in Kampala. The wealth in Oxford, it's not showy wealth. It's really not showy wealth. I think Chidandal is overrated. The things that make it to the top of the top 100 in Uganda's Apple playlist tunes things is there's no soul in there. There's really very little soul in there. The military convoy came under ambush from rebels, and the soldiers literally came to us and said, I want you guys to pull out your phones and record your last will. Like, tell us your will, because we're not sure we're surviving this. So we need to know your will, and we need to send it to your people.
When you were growing up, did you always want to be a journalist?
At about age 4, there were people in my sitting room, like Shaka Sali used to be in our sitting room, would be forced by my dad to listen to the BBC, because he kept listening to the BBC to know about what was happening in northern Uganda, what was happening around the world.
Yeah.
So eventually one day I'm there going about my days. I see a DM. I'm looking for a very specific book, and they say you're the only one that has it in Kampala. I'm like, fantastic, I've got it. Do you know where it is? In my library at home. It was a Jeff Koinange book. She was starting out anchoring, so she wanted to read the Jeff Koinange book. It's like, yeah, I've got the copy. It's in my library. Would you like to have a coffee? And I slid it in there.
That's smooth.
And, yeah.
Well done.
And yeah. I can tell you, hand on heart.
Yeah.
When I was anchoring the news for NTV, I was 24.
Yeah.
The Myth had a track there called The Winner.
Yeah.
I used to listen to it every day just before I got onto the news.
Nice. You guys have probably seen him on the news, and today he has graced us with his presence. Allow me to introduce Raymond Mujuni. Should I say Kataha? Kataha, do people know you as that?
Very few people do.
Very few people. I'm glad to be one of the few people.
I try not to talk about it. Yes.
Is it?
Yes.
Okay, scratch that. Raymond Mujuni is here with us today. Why do I know him? Because, like, literally, that's how you say it.
I mean, some people. So yes, but it's my name, but it carries with it some baggage.
I see.
Yeah, I don't want to carry the baggage.
And we're not doing baggage. Yes. Welcome to It's Never That Serious, guys. Like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so that you're notified every time I upload a video. And also, we're at Zest, right? And they've given us some nice tea. It's very cold today. The fact that you made it here on time.
Well, thank you.
Are you one of those people who is always on time?
Yes, I try and put travel time in my calendar. So if I log and say Sab and I are meeting at midday, I'll do a travel time of 1 hour and try and be there in time. Yes. Because you need an hour to get anywhere in between Kampala.
So if you have a meeting at midday, you leave home at?
I would leave home at 10 and then get to the place. Possibly by 11.
Where did you learn this behavior from? It sure as hell was not in Uganda.
It was from here, actually.
It was from here?
I grew up in a very strict household. It was lunch at 1. It was you sleep at 3. It was you wake up and take evening tea. It was you go back to bed at this time. So, yeah.
And
what would carried on with it.
What would happen if you didn't comply?
It was mostly bad eyes, but you just didn't want to be on the bad side of my parents. They didn't beat us, but you just didn't want to be on their wrong side.
They'd give you a side eye.
It wasn't just a side eye. It was more, who do you think you are in this household? Yeah, and you didn't want to get that level with the parents, never.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're not going to get too personal, but you have siblings?
Yes, I've got siblings.
How many?
Tons of them.
I need to stop asking people this question because, like,
I've got 6 of them.
You've got 6.
Yes,
that's
I've
not
got 6
tons
of them.
for our generation.
Yeah,
that's how many kids our parents were having.
Yeah,
like now it's wild when you say I have 6 kids, but like back then that was the standard.
But my mom just had 4 kids, so it's 3 of us. Yeah,
okay, even us we are 5. So please, you're not alone. So you're an investigative journalist.
Yes, I am.
You look like you wanted to add.
I was because I'm in transition right now,
okay.
And I don't know if I've made that known to people. Yes.
No, tell us now. You're here, tell us.
Yes, I was an investigative journalist. I'm a co-founder of an investigative journalism institute, but I am now leaning a little bit more into the think tank world and spending a lot of my time rating research work and thinking.
What does that mean? Let's start from the beginning. Think tank. What is that? What do you mean think tank? Like,
so
what's that?
Think for a minute. Someone says, I want to put my money in Kampala. Okay, think like a bank wants to open up in Kampala. They will need someone to think for them on which clients they'll attract in the first place. So you'd have to get data on how many clients do the banks already existing have, data on what's in their bank accounts, just how much threshold there is. Does that help the bank break even? Which clients should they target? Should they target walk-in clients? Should they target land transaction clients and things like that?
Yeah.
So the think tank world is really just you think on behalf of businesses, corporations, governments, so that they can make their decisions.
Is that what you had gone to study? Because I saw you went to UK for...
Yes. So I was studying international relations and international trade and finance.
Okay.
And that's really what I was doing most of the time.
First of all, this is news to me, right? And
Yeah.
I consider myself your friend in some capacity.
No, sir. But I think you should hold this against me. I've been back 13 days.
I'm not even going to hold it against you. That's not what I'm talking about. But I'm pretty sure very many people are going to be surprised to hear this information. Why have you now decided to make a move like that? Is journalism not paying enough?
I don't think journalism was ever paid enough, to be fair.
Facts.
I don't think. I don't think I earned, during my time in the newsroom, I don't think I earned most of my money from the newsroom.
Okay.
It was a passion and I really loved doing it. But I think that you get to a point where, one, you get tired, genuinely and validly tired. Two, family checks in. I'm now married with children, so that checks in too. Three, you also basically want to advance on the career path. And the newsroom in Uganda has a ceiling. Once you've hit that ceiling, and I hit that ceiling really early in life, there's not much you can do ahead of it. So what else can I become now in the newsroom?
Exactly.
There's no job in the newsroom I haven't done. What else will I do?
I have been saying this for a while.
Yeah.
Because when I started out my career, like obviously I had goals and stuff. I used to see these big shows and I was like, I want to be like that. But then when you're a journalist in Uganda or when you're a TV presenter, radio presenter, there is a ceiling. Yeah. There is like a point where, and if you're the kind of person who is always hungry for more, you will get bored. Yeah.
Also, there's very little challenge in terms of the newsroom itself. There's all this change that's come into the newsroom.
Yeah.
The much younger audiences, they consume their news very differently. You can't do it the same way that newsrooms are doing it now. What was news before is not news anymore. Newsrooms are still stuck in the politics. But the definition of politics has grown. People talk about buddies. That's their politics. People talk about situationships. That's their politics.
Let me tell you what.
Yeah.
So I stumbled onto from TikTok. Actually, TikTok recommended this to me.
Okay.
And I stumbled onto a podcast. This guy interviewing a chick who used to be a Russian spy. I spoke about this on the Mob Jazz podcast. Yeah. She used to be a Russian spy and she was just telling the secrets of like what goes on behind the scenes as like a Russian spy and the way he told the story, it was definitely investigative journalism because he had to interview very many people who have been involved in things like that. CIA, FBI, people in the KGB. Yeah. Now what is it called?
Still the KGB.
They changed the name. That's not how I found out from that one, from that podcast. So that it wasn't KGB. It was RSB, FSB. Yeah,
those are two separate entities.
Apparently, they changed. Like according to that podcast, they changed it. I don't know, man.
Yeah, the Kremlin runs both of them, but yes.
So I was just like, okay, so this is news for me. This is how I want to consume news. You get like, I love the story. Like now, I'm learning about like Russian politics and stuff like that through. This sex espionage chick.
That's it. I mean, I've been learning a lot about what I should do with my face from a guy on Twitter who spends 6 hours of his morning basically preparing himself for the day.
What you should do with your face?
Yeah, this guy has more. So you know how people think that men don't have a routine around their faces, their beauty, and what things look like. There's this guy with Saratoga white bottles and bananas and ice and dipping, and I'm like, I love this.
For a second there, I was taking you seriously. Please, release that.
What do you mean?
So would you do that? Would you do that routine? Have you seen that guy, Bill? Have you seen that guy who washes his face with sparkling water And,
yes, and dips it in ice.
So that's what you're doing now?
I'm not doing it, but I was intrigued by it. I was very intrigued by it, and I loved it. I loved it.
Okay.
It could make a good news story on what men are doing for their beauty and beauty products. Men used to go to war, but now we also want to look nice.
Mm-hmm. So, producer is saying, remember when Sema Timba said that and people clowned him? First of all, I don't remember when Sema Timba said that. What did he say? Do you remember?
No, Sema Timba for me is a guy that's always well put.
Yeah.
I don't care what he says, but every time I see him, he's well put. He knows the shirts he wears. He knows when it's a Windsor cut. He knows how to put on his ties. He knows what to do with his face. So he's really just a good guy. He's really a good guy.
What do you think about guys who do stuff like that? Like, who are on the other end of like extreme? I had Mulinde on the podcast and he was telling me he has like a 15-step skincare routine and he does all that. What do you, like, go get let me see your nails. You go get a manicure and a pedicure. Like, what do you think about guys who do stuff like that?
Nothing actually. The idea of masculinity has expanded now. It's no longer the tough, macho, go get them, beat people on the road. Masculinity can also be soft. It can be kind.
Yeah.
It can be skincare routines. It can be wanting to look nice. In fact, you should look nice because the world is a little bit difficult these days. Yeah.
Let me tell you, and I may be wrong, but I think I don't think I am. Those days, like, people would come from abroad, say they're Basama or they've lived there their whole lives, and they come back and they look different. Like, they look different from us. Like, they stuck out. And I get the feeling it's because they used to take care of themselves differently there than us guys. Us guys, the kasana hits you, you're like, me, I want to wear sunscreen. No. But then they're wearing sunscreen, obviously, right? They're doing something to their body, their skin, their whatever. So they look good because they're taking care of themselves. I'm so glad that guys now are picking up on that. Like, you have to take care of yourself. To be
fair, and this is not even politicize it, but there's an economics behind it. Okay. And the economics is, I mean, in early Uganda, you didn't need to look good to get a job. You really didn't need to look good. You'd show up at a job interview. There were less than 1 million graduates. You'd get the job.
Yeah.
Now, in competitive economics, how you look matters. You might know stuff, but how you look, how you present yourself matters.
You have to have
and people have learned that art of looking good, and they really lean in on it for economic purposes.
And they're milking it. So
yes, but also for social purposes. If you want to go up on the social ladder, you've got to look a certain way.
That's true. That's true. And people actually respect you more depending on how you look. Unfortunately,
very unfortunately.
But
I also love the out of the box. So, I mean, just recently I got put onto Elijah Kitaka and I started to admire his music a lot. Then I was like, let me see, who is this guy? What does he look like? And then I looked at his dress sense. I was like, okay, this is odd. This is unique. Yeah. This is unheard of. And now I am in sync with his dress style. I don't understand it.
I had him on the show.
But I respect it.
I had him on the podcast and I asked him, like, do you have like a identity, what do they call it?
Crisis.
No. Do you have an image consultant, like someone who tells you this is what you should, how you should present yourself to the world? Because whatever he's doing, I think is smart. Yeah. Just your outfit is worth talking about. That's a very good place to start as an artist. You know what I mean?
I will tell you this.
Yeah.
I don't know if people would get offended by this, but there are people in this town, and we probably know ourselves. I can tell by the kind of collar you're wearing how much time we will spend discussing things that matter. It's possible.
Bro!
It's possible. It's really possible.
Shots fired.
not shots fired. You can tell. I mean, people say everyone that wears a suit. Collars. No, everyone says like everyone who wears a suit as a guy is serious and what. And sometimes you can look at the suit and say, this is not a very serious person. And I can tell that it's not going to be a serious. 9 out of 10 times, they're not going to be a serious person.
What is it about the collar? Tell me. You give us the secrets.
Yeah, men dress sense, of course, has evolved.
Yes.
So, collars are, so we have like Windsor cuts, which appeal to different types of suits. You have a full Windsor cut, which appeals to different types of suits.
Mr. Producer, sir, do you know what a Windsor cut is?
Yeah. So there's guys who really go out of their way to get the finer shots, and you can see them from a distance from a man. So you see a guy like Charles Peter Maiga, the Katikiro of Buganda. You see the collars he wears. Look at David Impanga, for example, and see the colors he wears.
I'm waiting for you to tell me someone who I know, because I'm not. I may
not know them.
You don't know them. I may not.
Okay, who in the
In our friend group.
In the friend group.
In our circle.
Exactly.
No one.
I'll find one.
Said it wasn't me.
I'll find one and let you know.
Okay.
I'll find one and let you know.
Let's talk about hot takes. Hot
Yes.
take, you know what it is, right?
Yes.
For people who don't know, it's a controversial
it's such a
opinion.
Gen Z thing.
It's such a Gen Z thing. Because I do identify as Gen Z.
You identify as Gen Z.
I identify as Gen Z.
I don't. Happily, I don't.
What's a hot take that you have that may or may not get you cancelled?
Political, social.
It's never that
random.
serious.
It's never that serious.
Kind of opinion.
Okay. I think one of the hot takes that I have, and no, I'll get cancelled. I'm really thinking this
through. You tell us, and if it's so bad,
no. So this is the thing, you know, about like censoring yourself for people.
Yeah.
Even if it's a hot take that I will tell you, I have already censored. There are hot takes I will never basically say on the cameras.
Yes.
And you and I can say this to ourselves off the cameras.
Yeah.
But when I'm on camera, I censor myself and say, what's the public perception?
Okay, you give us a censored hot take.
A censored hot take. Mm-hmm. I think Chidandal is overrated.
Did you watch the DJ Vans episode?
I watched it. And I heard him talk about it, but his reasons and my reasons differ.
Yeah, what are your reasons?
My reasons differ. So I've been struggling to find soul in music, and soul is an important part for me in identifying with music, because I'm like, what went into the producer's mind when they were making this beat?
Yeah.
What appealed to them? What new things did they add to the beat? And increasingly, I feel like the things that make it to the top of the top 100 in Uganda's Apple playlist tunes things is there's no soul in there. There's really very little soul in there.
Yeah.
If there's any soul, it's being brought by the Swangs Avenue people.
Yes, I was
not
about
many
to
people
say, like,
outside of that.
I do feel like a bit of soul in like Azawi's music.
Yes,
Me
Azawi
personally, I love
Azawi. Yes, Azawi
yeah.
has some soul in her, a lot of soul in her.
Yeah.
Kenneth Mugabe has been another of the people that I've been relating to a lot.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of music that you just play and you're like, okay, this is just getting me through the day. But at the end, it's not taking me much.
Okay, that is a controversial take. And I guess, you've set yourself up. People in the comments.
No, guys, don't cancel me.
Go for him.
By the way, I've also changed who I am.
Yeah.
Previously, I never used to come after people that come after me. Now I come after them.
Hey.
Now I come after them.
Now you have time.
I am feisty, I have time. I really have time.
How come?
So you probably know this because you're in the industry. You sign a contract and then you sign this brand contract which ties you down to brand guidelines, and then you're on billboards representing a brand. So there are things you can't say outside of the brand. So for a long time, I was a main news anchor for television station, so I had to be well put together. I couldn't appear in some pictures with some things. For example, you can appear in pictures with alcohol. You can appear in pictures looking a certain way. And that also went to my social media. You couldn't abuse people on social media and they would abuse you day in, day out, sub. So when the shackles were let off, I was like, I've got time in my hand. Let's go.
But have you ever had like a social media, like back and forth, social media exchange with somebody?
I had one with Jameson and I had many calls.
Are you serious?
Many calls of people saying, this is not you, please stop. I was like, you don't know me.
Yeah.
This is me.
I also don't like it when people say like, this is not you. Like, how do you know?
Yeah.
Maybe this has always been me. It's just you've never seen that version of me.
No. I'm a firm believer in the idea that if you come at me, I pick the date, time, and place. I'll come back at you.
Are you serious?
You don't have that in your arsenal anymore.
Are you
You can come at me all you want. You can abuse me now, for example. But when I abuse you back, that's up to me.
Yeah.
How I abuse you back, it's up to me.
Yeah.
When I'll get you, it's still up to me. Yeah.
I feel like, okay. I am with you.
Yeah.
Because I like to be petty as well. And, petty.
No, but
petty.
I'm petty in the sense that I'm petty in the construction of my social boundaries.
Yeah.
I'm petty in the sense that you don't have the right to tell me
But
this.
do you, to some extent, feel like it's pointless engaging in those social media, like back and forth?
Yeah.
Because sometimes people are just committed to misunderstanding you.
Yeah.
And they are just there to trigger you.
So this is a problem. A lot of people feel like they own public figures. Because I do a public job, you don't own me.
Yeah.
I do a public-facing job. if I'm on the news and you have a problem with the news, talk to the news company. Don't talk to me about it.
Yeah.
If you have a problem with the way that I am dressing, if you're not my friend, I've got news for you. Don't talk to me. Talk to the company. Now, because people have this ownership mentality and they're like, I own this person because I see them on my TV so I can tell them what to do. No, you don't.
Yeah.
No, you don't.
Yeah.
No, you don't. So I try and construct that social boundary. Like you don't have the right to tell me this. On my social media,
What's
you don't
the
have
most
the right.
outrageous thing that someone has said to you? Do you want to, like, if it's too bad, we can censor it out, although I don't promise.
I don't know.
But-
I don't know about outrageous.
Okay,
but
like something that took you aback, like, wait a second, what's going on here?
I had an incident
Uh-huh.
probably 3 months ago where someone came. I wasn't even engaging them. I wasn't even tweeting things, but they were tagging me in things they were tweeting. And I just quoted one of those things and said noted.
Yeah.
And I think by saying noted, they had some, I think they felt bad about the fact that I say noted, not that respond to their thing in full. And then they went on about how I didn't know the things I was talking about. And for a brief minute there, I was like, wait a minute. One, I don't know you like that. Two, I think I know the things that I'm talking about. I really pride myself in knowing the things that I talk about.
Yeah.
Like, if I don't know something, I'll not talk about it. I'll not offer opinions. You'll not find me offering opinions on things I don't know.
Yeah.
If I want something, I really engage in it and I'll talk about it at length. I will spend time, I will read. I read in the night, I read in the morning, I listen to a podcast, and I listen to varied things. So if someone tells me I don't know what I'm talking about, I get an offense
get
to that. I'm
triggered.
like, okay,
Yeah.
let's see how much you know about what you're talking about. Yeah.
You're so petty. I love it. I love it. for you.
Yeah. I'm not petty. And Batora are not petty
You
people. We're kind
are.
people.
Of course. Let's go with that. When you were growing up, did you always want to be a journalist? Or what did you want to be?
I wanted to explain things. And I can say from a really young age. So my parents, my mom, for example, was managing a radio station for some time in her life. And during that period is when I was born. At about age 4, there were people in my sitting room, like Shaka Sali used to be in our sitting room, would be forced by my dad to listen to the BBC because he kept listening to the BBC to know about what was happening in northern Uganda, what was happening around the world. And I got this knack about explaining things to people. And part of that was you need to understand the thing first before you can be able to explain it.
True.
So my siblings and I, we used to do crossword puzzles. We used to ask ourselves questions. We're like, what was on the 4th page of the New Vision on Thursday last week? And then
And
you'd have
you'd
to try
remember?
you'd try and remember those things.
Okay.
So I grew up in a homestead where that was sort of entrenched. And naturally, I just got addicted to it.
Yeah.
In school, I used to edit school magazines. I was the editor of the school magazine all the way until my S6. The Daily Monitor actually was running a magazine called the T-Vibe. There's a lady there called Brenda Banoy. She was like, you should write for the T-Vibe. Like, you mean my stuff can end up in the Daily Monitor? So I started writing. There were some rejections there. They were not cool, by the way. Dear Daily Monitor, not cool. They were cool. Then eventually I got published.
Okay.
And then you'd walk around the school with a swagger and be like,
Yeah.
who are you?
Yeah, like I got published. Like, what have you done?
Yeah.
How is your life going?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So from the T-Vibe, then in my vacation of Essex, became a little bit more serious with the journalism. And I started to love it and I started to do it as a profession now. And I
Yeah.
fell in love with it. Yeah.
Okay. You're the
Yeah.
people who knew what you wanted, like, as soon as.
I can guarantee you no.
Yeah?
I
Because
guarantee
me,
you
man,
no.
I first went and did a IT degree those days. Then, halfway through, I'm
Yeah.
like, Sabrina, but you first you.
What's
When
going
are you
on?
going to ever use this degree? Like, don't even waste your
So
father's money.
I'll tell you a funny story.
Yeah.
I don't know if you read magazines as a child. We used to have magazines at home. There was this magazine, it's a German magazine with a kid called Tintin.
Yeah, I remember Tintin.
Yeah. And he was driving cars. I fell in love with cars because of Tintin. I still drive German cars simply because the Tintin fascination is still with me. So there was a time in my life I was convinced I wanted to be a car guy, whether that meant being a mechanic, whether it meant being a reviewer, whether it meant I just needed to be me and around cars.
Yeah.
Still a small dream, and I still have it within me.
Even me,
it's not dead.
I'm now living my car dream. I have a car show.
Oh, nice. Well done. Mileage.
Yeah.
Yes. Well done. Well done to you. So, please. Are you hiring?
Come, please.
I come with some considerable experience.
Come. I could use all the help I could get. But then also, like, you overshadow me, so Bambi, stay those.
No worries. I've been the spanners down the car. You do the thing at the top.
So I remember back in the day when we worked at NBS together. Yeah. One day you told me a very interesting story about like some, places that you've been and situations you've been in. Yeah. I don't know if you're at liberty to say, but like, what's one of the most scary places you've been when it comes to like as an investigative journalist? Because you have had to go undercover and do this and do that. Like, what's one of the scariest experiences of that?
Yeah. So I've got many.
Give us one.
I've got many. But I've got to say one of the scariest places I've ever been. So we were in Kasese filming a news story on the kingdom. Yeah. And unknown to us, a military operation was unfolding on and around us. And in the middle of our filming, we just hear these loud bangs and a string of bullets. And then we couldn't move away from the place we were because the shooting was happening all around us, so we didn't know where to go. So we first hid under the car.
Oh,
and then later on came out and started filming. It was much later, after we'd done filming, that I looked back at that footage and said, this day is our saving grace. Because we met a soldier that evening who said, we saw a blue car and we thought it was an enemy's car and we were shooting actively towards it. And that blue car was us. They didn't know that we were there filming as journalists. They thought that we were their enemies. That tops down is one of the scariest.
And then in this whole mix, you still went ahead to film what was happening.
So the news works a different way.
I know.
It really works a different way.
That's why I jumped the newsroom because I'm like, you can't tell. So what I'm hearing is that you're hearing bullets around you, but you're like, nah, like this is content.
Let me tell you, if Bill jumps and slaps you right now,
you'll get your phone.
I'll have a moment in which I'll say Sab has been beaten, but I'll be the news value, which is Sab's getting beaten. What's her reaction to the beating? What's Bill's reaction? And that's really where the news is.
There's a movie I watched called Nightcrawler. Have you watched it?
No, I haven't.
Jake Gyllenhaal. One of his best performances, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So basically, he got a job, like a night news, like that news that's past a certain hour. So the more shocking, the better for you as a journalist. They pay you better money. So this guy would go around looking for like gruesome crimes happening around the city and then eventually, like it ends with somebody literally dying in front of him, but he has like a camera. So I guess they were talking about people like you, where they're like, where do you draw the line between being a journalist and getting the story? Yes, but like, where's the human aspect?
There's ethics to it. There's ethics to it. So if Bill said, I'm going to beat you, Sabrina, and I don't intervene in that, then there'll be ethic wrongs to that. But if he slapped you all of a sudden, I'm not interfering. I'm not.
Oh my God.
Then that's the news. The news is unfolding. I was on my way to South Sudan with a friend of mine called Solomon Kawesa. We were in a military convoy, but in a white unmarked civilian car. And the military convoy came under ambush from rebels. And the soldiers literally came to us and said, I want you guys to pull out your phones and record your last will. Like, tell us your will, because we're not sure we're surviving this. So we need to know your will and we need to send it to your people. Yeah.
How was that now not the most scary experience?
That came number two, because
I think that's
there was shooting around us, but we had the protective cover of soldiers. So we knew that the soldiers were fighting back. In Kasese, no one was fighting back. We were just hiding under a car, filming and waiting for our time to go. And a car
that's being shot at.
Yes.
That is scary. So you've become used to the sound of bullets just flying around.
I was hoping to run away from that. This is why I'm in the think tank world.
Yeah.
I was hoping to
No,
run away
Bambi,
from
please
that.
think tank
Yeah.
for now.
Also, I see my friends getting beaten on the streets, and I'm like, bruh, you're not
I'm
whipping
telling
me. I'm an
you.
old man. Now you're not
Yeah.
whipping me.
And then you have to now go running. Let me tell you,
Yeah.
there was a time I was approached to be in the newsroom.
Uh-huh.
But I just,
So you should
it just
take it.
feels like no, like I'm
Take
just a
it.
girl. You understand?
Yeah, but you're a great risk taker.
I am a risk taker,
Yeah.
but in my comfort zone, if that makes sense. It's like I'm not gonna get roughed up.
Yeah.
Like I don't see myself thriving in
Yeah.
situations like that. First of all, may I cry. I'm a
Oh,
crier. They'll start shooting. I'll be like, no, guys, what's going on?
Yeah, but I've also got to say, I mean, people admire news anchors,
Yeah.
but that's like 1% of the job. 99% of the job is reading a ton of material on hundreds and hundreds of stories.
Yeah.
Because on a daily basis, you're reading stories on teenage pregnancy, on roads not functioning, you're interviewing EDs, and you've got to have your A game on. Because that's the thing that people don't carry grace to journalists. That I'm meeting an expert in their field. They've been an expert for 20, 25 years. I've got 10 minutes to prepare myself to interview someone who's an expert for 25 years and ask them and look brilliant whilst doing it.
Yeah. So
That's
you
a
had
rare
to
skill.
have already been
Yes.
prepared
Yes.
long before this thing happened.
I mean, that's why you find many news anchors, even in their heyday when they're done, they just have this art of collecting random information because you never know when you're going to
you
need it.
never know when you're going to
Yeah.
need it. Yeah, that's
You'll
true.
never know. Yeah.
If you suddenly had $1 million to spend, what's the first thing you're doing?
How sure you I don't have $1 million already? No, but
I
if
think
I
I'm
had,
asking the wrong questions.
if I had $1
Do
million,
you have $1 million?
if I had $1 million to
Some
spend,
money?
if I had $1 million,
Invest in a podcast.
in the podcast,
Invest.
yeah.
my-
Shameless plug. Shameless plug. I have just invested in a podcast. This is the other side of my life. It's a very private side, but people close to me know this.
Yeah.
I'm passionate about libraries, public schools, and books.
Yeah.
And I've got a book club where every month we collect money and buy books for a public school. We've so far bought close to 5,000 books. We even built libraries in some schools. If I had the money, I would honestly and genuinely build a public library for as many schools as possible. First, I think that children are beaten down to the circumstances around them.
Yeah.
And the only way to get them to aspire is to give them things that like aspire out of that range. And libraries are a perfect thing to do. So if I had $1 million, no doubt I'd spend the last penny doing that.
Okay. So you wanted to shamelessly plug. Let's go that direction.
Once a week, Simon Kasiate and I will be analyzing the 3 biggest news stories from East Africa. And we'll also be talking to newsmakers, not newsmakers in the political sense. So we'll talk to newsmakers, even Elijah Kitaka, for example. We'll consider that as a newsmaker.
You don't talk to me. I'm not a newsmaker.
We will definitely come and talk to you. We will. Actually, Sabrina, shameless ask. Will you be on our podcast?
Please, it has come after Elijah Kitaka. So I'll come after Elijah
Yeah,
Kitaka.
after Elijah. No,
kidding.
but so we're trying to find a way in which we make public affairs appealing to younger audiences.
I like that.
And we interpret public affairs for younger audiences, but also allow for younger audiences to tell us how they interpret public affairs.
Yeah.
So it's not a one-way street, it's a two-way street. That's what we're trying to do with the podcast.
What's the thing about adulthood that you weren't ready for?
I wasn't ready for the amount of responsibility that adulthood comes with. I didn't really expect to be in charge of my day, in charge of the outcomes of my life. I felt like that should be someone's responsibility. I should just be doing the day-to-day thing and you figure it out.
Yeah.
I can confidently say I also wasn't prepared for the public eye. Unlike many people, I didn't choose the public eye. I just did a job, did it well, and it landed me in the public eye. And then all of a sudden, I had at a young age to start editing myself for the public. So for example, I've only done 2 biographical interviews in my life. This is the second. The first is with Crystal Newman. And even with Crystal Newman, it was a drag. She was like, I'm going to drag you into this podcast and you're going to do it.
Yeah.
So I wasn't prepared for that at a young age. I mean, one of the things I'm still dealing with therapeutically is the amount of damage that Kampala Sun was out to do to me at a young age. Some of the Kampala Sun people, I pray that God is keeping you well, but may we never cross paths.
Yeah.
Because some of the things they wrote were just outrightly bogus bullshit.
Yeah.
Really. And they were just putting it out there. They were spewing it on the week. Every week there was a mail out there. So I started to edit myself. I used to love going for concerts, for example, and I realized this was like a place where they got a lot of tabloid gossip, and I didn't want to be in that space. I realized at a very young age that I needed to make most of my socials private. So with the exception of Twitter, all my other socials are exceptionally private. My Instagram is very private. My Snapchat's even more private, even more private.
Yeah.
And I'm slowly coming around the idea of coming to TikTok, but I'm not sure that I'm ready for that.
Yeah.
So at a young age, I wasn't ready for that. And I wasn't ready for the pressure that it comes with. So I've got to say, I was just happy that there were people who were looking out for me. And I mean, like, I've got to thank Maurice Mugisha. He really looked out for me. He really looked out, because he had been in the limelight for a long time. And he was like, okay, maybe start to do things a little bit different. So I didn't know this from a young age. I had a Facebook. It was an open platform, Facebook. I didn't know, for example, that if you talked on Facebook about a girl you were with at a basketball game, that was content and fodder for tabloids.
For people, yeah.
And they would speculate at length. And then all of a sudden, your parents are giving you the shit.
Yeah.
The girl's parents are also giving you the shit.
Yeah.
They've not even investigated if the two of you are related. So now your parents are asking, are you guys committing incest? I'm like, this
what
is
is going
the wrong
on?
perception.
Yeah.
So I'd say I wasn't prepared for that.
Yeah.
It made me have a very rocky relationship with my parents at a young age, at a really young age. And I had to move out of my parents' house at a young age because of managing this relationship.
I feel like being in the limelight is, especially like in Uganda, I'm sorry. I've said this before and I'm going to say it again.
Yeah.
When you become like a public figure in Uganda, it's not like when you're a public figure in other countries. I don't know how it is in other countries, but like, first of all, fame in other countries means money, usually. Here, that's not necessarily the case. You can just become famous
without the money.
Yeah. Me, nothing I do, as somebody who is in the media and in public eye in some way, nothing I do is for fame. I do it for the money. Like, I want money, like everything I'm trying to get.
The paper.
I'm trying to get I'm trying to get to the bag. You understand what I'm saying?
So
anytime you see, like, I understand what you're saying of like, you're too young, certain things that I said about you, you even take it personally, it affects your self-esteem.
Yep.
How did you deal with that? Like, how did you maneuver that? You said you had like the mentorship of Maurice.
Yes,
but like,
I had the mentorship of Maurice.
did you like need therapy or something like that?
Massively needed therapy at a young age. I massively messed up many of my relationships at a young age simply because of that balancing act of what can be public, what can be private. I also had to get into a discipline. So, and that discipline has stuck with me now. So I immersed myself in just doing things that kept me indoors. So that was reading, that was taking long walks, running. And that's a discipline that's kept me for a long time. But that came much later. It really came much later.
Yeah.
At a young age, I was dealing with it through rap music, punching bags, ranting to friends.
Rap music. Let's first go in that direction. Who's your favorite? Because I'm into. Is it?
Yes,
why is it unfortunately?
Well, people say some shit about him. I don't know where they come from, but yeah, we don't come from the same place.
Is he your favorite rapper?
He is my favorite rapper. I used to have Immortal Technique as one of my favorite rappers, but he went the wrong.
Who are those?
He went
Do you know those people, Bill?
He went the wrong way.
Who is Immortal Technique? You know them?
Immortal Technique is
Damn.
a fantastically great rapper, and
Okay,
then
let
the
me
internet opened him up in a terrible way, and I was like, that's not a person I want to admire.
Yeah.
But I listen to Jay-Z. I listen to Macklemore for white people music. Balance the act. You gotta balance the act. Old Kanye was great for me. New Kanye, I don't understand.
Let me tell you something though.
Yeah.
I love Kanye to death.
Okay.
And I always used to be like,
yeah,
old Kanye was a shit. But let me tell you, on a good day, listen to new Kanye. You will be surprised. Let me tell you, I listened to Donda. I never ever, like back in the day, I never ever gave it even like the light of day. Like I never gave it a chance.
Yeah.
Then recently I was in the gym and a couple of songs come on. I'm like, this is Yay from when? And then I listened. I went down a rabbit hole.
Yay now. I don't even know what that is.
Yeah. Man, Bambi, I think when you're a Kanye fan, you just have to take him as he is.
Dip in.
Like he's just been stressing us and embarrassing us, but I still love him.
Yeah.
Yeah. I ride for people I ride for.
So I'd say Jay-Z is top there.
Yeah.
The Myth is one of my favorite rappers.
Yeah.
Both lyrically and beat-wise, I really admire the music he makes.
The Myth.
Yes.
The Myth is actually very brilliant.
Yeah, some of the music he makes really speaks to me at length.
Yeah.
I admire some albums of Navy, not many of them, not all of them, but I admire some of his newer work.
Let me just say
he's been doing some newer work around history of Uganda.
The Myth and Navio. Guys, I want to put you guys on blast.
Yeah.
There's a project. I'm not even at liberty to say, and it's not my place to say, but just know you won't. They are so freaking talented, and there's a project that I had the pleasure of listening to, and I'm just like, guys, when is it? Like, come on, like just drop it already. I'm gonna start becoming like Rihanna's fans.
Yeah.
Where's the album? Where's the album? The Myth and Navio is your final warning.
I can tell you, hand on heart.
Yeah.
When I was anchoring the news for NTV, I was 24.
Yeah.
The Myth had a track there called The Winner.
Yeah.
I used to listen to it every day just before I got onto the news.
Nice.
That bit just got me in shape for the news. And every time I'd be on the news, I'd be like, this is it. I like it and I love it.
What's your happy place? Or where is your happy place? And people with family usually say, at home with my family. So I'll allow it. But what is your happy place?
My happy place is in a book, honestly.
Okay.
My happy place is in a book. And even my family knows that. Yeah. I get fascinated by books. I get fascinated by the knowledge in them. I have a reading list that's really, it's like my reading list right now is set all the way until like 2027. And I just have to keep adding newer titles as they come and go. And so it's either a book or a podcast. And I listen to podcasts when I'm walking long distances. I listen to Desert Island Discs a lot. I listen to Young Again. It's a newer podcast. It's a very lovely podcast. I was listening to Jada on Young Again. And then I ended up downloading her book and listening to it and reading it. And I was like, this is a very messed up situation.
First of all, you were actually telling us about that off camera.
Yeah.
And you're saying Jada's book. So what is it about Jada's book? What was she saying in that book?
So as a man, I admire Will Smith.
Let's start there. Every time it starts with as a man.
No, it starts there. I mean, people don't take time to understand what shapes men's thoughts. I was a young boy. The man was there in the Matrix. I loved him. He was there in all his Men in Black. Naturally, he was appealing to us. And he was making fantastic music.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he became an icon. He became a cultural icon to us as young men. And then Red Table happened. I listened to Will Smith and his wife Jada on the Red Table. And I was like, okay, I don't have enough bandwidth to understand this relationship. I need some time. And on or around that time, Will Smith put out his book. And I read his book and I understood where he was coming from. And the concept really of you don't own the person you're in a relationship with. Hand on heart, I love that.
Yeah.
I really love that.
Yeah.
It's their life, it's their story. You're just a person they happen to be in a partnership with.
True.
So you have to support them in all ways they can. So that was like a messed up situation also. And also on the other hand, because Jada is like Tupac. Like, if you could bag Tupac, there's something about you that we need to know.
I know.
There's something about you.
Yeah, you know. But like, have you seen young Jada? Have you seen a young Jada?
Well, now in the book, I have seen young Jada at length.
She had those beautiful brown eyes, and she had like this.
I wasn't looking at all that. I was looking at the soul.
Whatever. Of course. We were looking at the soul.
I was looking at the soul. So this is a controversial opinion.
Yeah.
But I will take it. You know how people say that all men do is objectify women? I think people get it wrong. The first thought, probably when a man sees you, the first thought is how you look as a person. But the speed with which they will move to the second, third, and fourth thought matter.
Mm-hmm.
So someone might look at you and say, "This is a strikingly beautiful woman." As a matter of fact,
thank you.
Yes, like I'm not seeking a relationship with her.
But
I don't want to
yes,
talk to her
yes.
at a distance. She's a
Yeah.
strikingly beautiful woman.
Yes.
That's it. It's a matter of fact statement. There are other times when you say, "This is a strikingly gorgeous woman. I'd love to know whatever is happening in her life." This is me with my wife. Because I saw her. I went for a radio interview.
Your wife is banging.
I went for a radio interview and I was like, "You're the one interviewing me."
Yeah. Didn't you get tongue-tied?
Yeah, I was like, why are we doing this? So I left her my number. She didn't call me back for 2 years, but that's another story. That's another story.
You told me.
That's
am I allowed to ask?
I can get a little bit into it.
Okay.
But that's just about it.
Okay.
Yes. So I left her my number. She was working at RC at the time, Radio City. And she didn't call me back.
Damn.
And I said,
damn, Kevin Hart voice.
Yeah. I was like, yeah, pretty girls really move like this.
How did you recover from
pretty girls move like this?
How did you recover from a 2-year ghostage / friend zonage? Like,
I don't think I was even ghosted.
How
because
did you
for someone to ghost you, they must have a working
with you.
No, for me, it was just.
Please, I think you need to teach the
Yeah.
youth how you recovered from said situation.
No, you wait your turn.
You're the patient type.
You wait your turn. You sit on the bench. You see how the pros do it. Like, my turn will come. And when I step on that court, I'll be MVP.
I'm shutting it down.
Yes, I'll be MVP.
Yeah.
So eventually one day I'm there going about my days. I see a DM. I'm looking for a very specific book and they say you're the only one that has it in Kampala. I'm like, fantastic, I've got it. Do you know where it is? In my library at home. It was a Jeff Koinange book. She was starting out anchoring, so she wanted to read the Jeff Koinange book. I was like, yeah, I've got the copy. It's in my library. Would you like to have a coffee? And I slid it in there.
That's smooth.
And, yeah.
Well done.
And yeah.
Well done.
Yeah, and yeah. Second date, we're talking wedding. Third date, we were married.
Cheers. No further questions.
I appreciate that there are no further questions because the tabloids will tear it apart. This is all you're getting.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we're good with that. What's the worst advice you ever received? Worst.
I think you only live once is the worst advice you can ever give.
But how many times do you live though, Raymond?
So I was in 2017. I was living in Nairobi because I was working in Nairobi with the national media group there, and that's about the time that Sauti Sol released that song, Isabella, and Isabella was such a romantic song, but there's a line in there where they say you only live once, and I would like to say that, yes, tomorrow morning you're still living. The day after you're still living. So no, it's not fantastic advice to give people.
You think so?
Think long term. Think long term.
Because you know what? The thing is like also I think it comes from a place of you wake up tomorrow, but it's not like a must. Like you are not guaranteed to waking up tomorrow. So I think YOLO comes in the sense of certain times we overthink things. And that's why I also decided to call this podcast Never That Serious. We have conversations about real life, but also like in the grand scheme of things, like is anything that deep?
It is that deep. It
Where?
is that deep. So think Jay-Z, for example, 444. There's a track on there called Legacy.
I know Legacy.
Any man, every man, once in their lifetime must chance upon that rap song and listen to it and take it in, because you're living, but you're going to have kids. And those kids,
what if I don't want to have kids?
Possible.
The YOLO may apply.
Possible, yes. There, the YOLO might apply. But they will live on after you. They will live on after you.
Yeah.
And then when you ask yourself, how come we have these communities that have insane wealth? Insane wealth. I was studying in Oxford. I thought I'd seen wealth in Kampala. The wealth in Oxford, it's not showy wealth. It's really not showy wealth. You're hanging out with friends and they're telling you, we are planning to go to Milan, have a stopover in Brussels, and then be back here by Monday morning. And you look at the amount of cost they're going to spend on that, and it's close to £100,000. And you put that in Ugandan money, you're like, it's fine, guys. Go.
Yeah, enjoy.
It's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah,
I know myself. I know where I come
take pictures
from.
and let me know how
I
it
came
is.
here to study. You guys do your thing. But so that's the thing. Like, you go into places where people have country homes that have been passed on 7 generations down the road. Then you realize you don't live once. You really don't live once.
Like, but then that's the first generation of that family. Are they still alive?
No, they're not
Is
alive.
the second one alive?
They're not alive.
Is the third alive?
They're not alive.
That's what we mean.
But
You're gonna die and leave that wealth here.
Yeah.
Hopefully your children will inherit it.
Yeah, it's not even a conversation on wealth.
Yeah.
It's a conversation on the quality of life that you get to live.
Yeah.
So the quality of life that I get to live, some of it is down to the decisions of my father.
Yeah.
Most of it is down to the decision of my father. If he had lived only once, bruh, I don't know what I'd be doing.
Okay, guys, you don't YOLO.
Yeah, please don't.
Raymond, it's been such a blast having you. I have to let you go, but before we do, we have to play a game.
Yeah.
So this or that. Let's start with that. Biggie or Park?
Biggie.
I like that. Kendrick or Drake?
Kendrick. What? Is that even a question?
Yes, Drake. Drake,
Okay.
me, Drake.
Okay. They're not like us anyway.
Nas or Jay-Z? Obviously Jay-Z.
Yeah.
Kanye.
No. Do I get a chance to explain?
Mm-hmm.
Nas for the battle, Jay-Z for the war.
Me the other way around. Yeah, Jay-Z for the battle because he has a strong, but then Nas like long term.
Yeah.
I've noticed like the woke artists will always beat the commercial artists when it comes to a battle, like a fight. They usually end you start it, they end it. Yeah, but I get you.
But Jay-Z can still put out records to 1 billion people. Nas can't.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Nicki Minaj or Cardi B?
I have no choice in that matter. But Nicki, maybe.
Afrobeats or Amapiano?
Afrobeats, please. What's Amapiano?
Yeah. Are you into sports? Like, are you
Yeah.
Michael Jordan or LeBron?
Jordan, please.
Kobe or Shaq?
Kobe.
Messi or Ronaldo?
Messi.
Venus or Serena? That's not a fair one.
It's really
but
not fair.
I have to ask.
Serena.
Yeah, I
Yes.
think most people would say Serena, but Venus in her prime. Tiger Woods or Roger Federer?
Tiger Woods. But those are not even in
They're
the
not
same
even the same.
sport.
Okay,
Yeah.
let's see, Djokovic or Roger Federer?
Roger Federer.
Okay,
Yeah.
Lewis or Max?
Lewis.
Yeah, Lewis. Lewis is the
Done
correct
deal,
answer.
44 sealed.
Marvel or
Best
DC?
driver in the Marvel. That's like straightforward, isn't it?
Yeah. Will Smith or Denzel?
Denzel.
Have you watched The Office?
Yes, I have.
Have you watched Friends?
Yes, I have.
The Office or Friends?
The Office.
The Office.
Yeah.
I feel like The Office is the only correct answer in that case.
No, Friends has got some
I
massive
know.
but yeah.
Friends is one of my all-time favorite comfort shows. Modern Family 1, Friends 2.
Yeah.
But The Office is funny as fuck.
Can I let off a small fact?
Yeah.
I didn't have the talk with my dad. I don't know if you guys know what the talk means.
We know what the talk is.
I learnt it from Friends.
Is it? From which scenario? Because I think I've watched Friends so much, so I know exactly what
I
happened.
wouldn't want to get into the scenarios because people are going to ask, who were you watching with? Why were you watching? At what time were you watching? No,
I have
mine was-
so many questions, but
No,
unfortunately...
no, your questions are done.
there are very many. Let me tell you, I can
Yeah.
keep you here until tomorrow morning. But we have to go, guys.
But thank you so much for
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
You've really done amazing.
Thank
I've told
you.
you I've watched tons of episodes. Flowers for you. This is
Thank
really
you.
amazing.
Thank you. I appreciate
and
that.
Shameless, ask again. Please come onto our podcast.
I told you my terms and conditions.
Therefore, I will meet all of them. I'm sure. Simon, are you watching this? Please
Okay.
reach out.
Okay, I will soon be on your podcast.
Yes,
the name of
Grab
the
a
podcast, Grab a Coffee. And we'll be grabbing coffee with Raymond Mujuni
Yes.
and
Simon Kasiate. Yeah.
Simon Kasiate. Guys, we've been at Zest. It's a very cold day. I have to emphasize that. But they've kept us warm with their refreshing black tea spice. Black tea spice is one of my favorite things in life to drink. I'm not going to lie. I'm just being honest.
Do you add ginger to your...
With ginger.
Okay.
Or lemongrass. Oh my God. I'm in heaven.
okay.
Like, yeah.
Okay. You
Yeah.
are a Motoro.
I'm just by STW. They have a new collection out. You need to go check out their Instagram and buy them while they're still available because they are moving quick. My name is Sabrina Agasha. You've been watching It's Never That Serious. I've just realized I never said my name in full on this podcast. This is an influence of Raymond because he's here. I'm now being focused. Also, make sure you like, subscribe, hit the notification bell so that you're notified every time I upload a video. Until next time, guys. Bye.